Thank you very much for joining us for this Advocacy Mini Masterclass with Katherine Sladden. Katherine is a brilliant campaigner, activist and movement builder. She's had top jobs with the One campaign and with change.org, and she's doing brilliant work with Grenfell United. Kat's recently set up a great new organisation called Chorus Campaigns, which supports activists. So I hope you enjoy my little chat with Katherine Sladden as much as I did. Thanks very much, Katherine.
Thanks for having me.
What are your top 3 tips to grassroots activists for making their campaigns succeed?
So my top tips would be to make it personal, to look for the little big thing, and I'll talk about what that means, and also to build a community.
Brilliant. So tell me a bit more about how you make it personal.
So I think people relate to people, and I think in campaigning sometimes you can get bogged down with policy detail or really focusing on how you convince politicians that you want to change something. But actually the most powerful way to recruit people to support your campaign is to tell your story. Like, why did you start this? What led you to start this campaign? And often that personal story is the most engaging tool that you have. An example of this would be, I worked with someone called Phil Wills, whose son Josh was 12 years old and had autism and was not getting the care and treatment he needed at home. Phil could have talked a lot about NHS policy and what needed to change, but really he just told the story of being a dad, trying to look after his son and wanting to bring his son back home. And that recruited 100,000 people to support him, and that was what got the policymakers to listen to him, and then they worked hard to find the solution. So he just focused on telling his story and really connecting with people.
That sounds amazing. Your second tip was to look for the little big thing. So what do you mean by that?
So this is one of the best tips I ever was given in campaigning, and it's about breaking your campaign down into small specific asks. So I think we all want to end world hunger or smash the patriarchy, but those huge goals, those huge systematic goals are so far off and can feel really demotivating trying to work towards those. So to put kind of energy back into your campaigning, really think about the tiniest things you can do and ask for and win. I think someone who does this brilliantly is Caroline Corrado Perez. So she campaigned to put a woman on a banknote, and she campaigned for a statue of Emily Pankhurst outside Parliament. And she wants to have a conversation about feminism, about women's rights, about women being recognised in history. But she has that bigger conversation by focusing on these really small specific campaigns. And because she wins them, it's really energising for all her supporters, and it inspires people then to think about what else they can change and how else they can start, keep moving forward to that bigger goal.
Great. And finally, you said build a community. How do you go about doing that?
So I think the most powerful thing you have, especially if you're a grassroots activist with not many resources, is people. That's really the power that you have against these big institutions. So always remembering that people are at the heart of your campaign and your supporters are so valuable. So make sure you're communicating with them. That can be by starting petitions that they can sign up and join so you can keep in touch with them. It can be through newsletters, and also holding events and making sure that your community know how much you need them. Grenfell United, the survivors and bereaved families from the Grenfell Tower fire, do this beautifully. Their community has been supporting them from day one, and every month on the 14th of the month they hold a silent walk in their area. Hundreds of people turn out, months, years on after the fire, people still turn out for them. And it's a really grounding moment. It reminds people that there's a big group of people that are supporting and fighting and are going to be there in the years to come as they fight for justice. So valuing the community and making sure that you keep in touch and you respect your supporters, that's going to be your biggest asset as you campaign.
Thanks very much, Katherine. Really brilliant, insightful answers, so thank you. The final thing we're asking everyone who records a mini masterclass is to make a recommendation for further reading or watching or listening. So do you have one for us?
Yeah, so I picked up this book again recently called Blueprint of a Revolution by Sergej Popovic, and it's a brilliant book. It's about the revolution in Serbia, but really it's full of tips and tricks of how to keep your campaign humorous, how to engage people that maybe wouldn't traditionally see themselves as activists or revolutionaries, and it's just full of so much insight and fun tactics. So if you're feeling a little bit stuck for what to do next in your campaign, it's definitely a book that I'd recommend picking up.
Thanks very much to Katherine Sladden, and thanks very much for joining us. If you have a question, please do email or tweet or leave a comment. And please do share this video if you enjoyed it. And please watch out for the next Advocacy Mini Masterclass. Thanks.